In a small town called Ann Arbor in Michigan, a high school boy named David finishes his usual school day. Before leaving, he gathers the courage to do something important. He has strong feelings for his classmate Millie, so he gives her a special gift, a beautiful snow globe from Paris that he worked hard to get. Millie smiles and thanks him, clearly happy. But suddenly, a bully named Mark shows up. With a rude attitude, he snatches the snow globe from Millie's hands. David gets upset and tells him to give it back, but Mark ignores him and throws the snow globe into a frozen lake nearby. Without thinking, David runs onto the ice to get it back. He manages to grab it, but the ice starts cracking under his feet. Within seconds, it breaks, and David falls into the freezing water. Millie panics and tries to help, but Mark stops her, saying she'll only make things worse. Under the icy water, David struggles to breathe and feels like he's going to die. Then something strange happens. Suddenly, he appears inside a hallway of a city library. He is wet, scared, and confused. He doesn't know how he got there, but he realizes he survived. Still shocked, David goes back home. His life hasn't been easy. His mother left when he was young, and he now lives with his father, William, who treats him badly. When David arrives, his father sees that he's soaking wet and angrily asks what happened. David is too shaken to answer. He goes to his room and locks the door, which makes his father even angrier. William breaks the door and rushes in, but suddenly stops. David has disappeared. At the same time, David appears again in the public library. That's when he realizes the truth. He didn't survive by chance. He has the power to teleport, meaning he can instantly move from one place to another. Confused but curious, he tries to leave the library, but the doors are locked. Feeling frustrated, he suddenly teleports again. This time, he appears in his own bedroom. Now he understands. This power can change his life. For the first time, he sees a way to escape his painful home. He quickly packs his things and decides to leave the town. But before going, there is one last place he wants to visit. Millie's house. Millie's house is filled with sadness. She believes David died in the icy lake. Suddenly, she hears a strange sound coming from her garden. When she steps outside, she is shocked to see the same snow globe David gave her lying on the ground. She feels confused and scared, not understanding how it got there. Meanwhile, David leaves town without telling anyone and starts a new life. He rents a small hotel room and begins living alone for the first time. Wanting to understand his powers, he goes to a nearby town square to practice teleporting, but he is still inexperienced. During one attempt, he makes a mistake and crashes straight into a tree, falling hard. Later, back in his room, David looks through a travel guidebook. He starts teleporting to places shown in the book, practicing again and again. Then, something surprising happens. He suddenly appears inside a place he recognizes from his past. At that moment, he realizes an important rule. He can only teleport to places he has seen before or remembers clearly. With this new understanding, David creates a dangerous plan. He visits a bank during the day and politely asks a guard to show him the restroom. While walking inside, he carefully observes everything around him. When he passes by the vault, he studies it closely and memorizes the details. That night, David gets ready for his first crime. He gathers some tools and teleports into the bank's bathroom. From there, he jumps straight into the vault and quickly starts taking large amounts of money. He repeats this process at different banks over time, collecting more wealth than he ever imagined. Soon, he becomes extremely rich and buys everything he ever wanted. Years pass, and David's powers become stronger. He now lives in a huge luxury apartment and even teleports from one room to another just for fun. However, despite having such an incredible ability, he doesn't use it to help others. He only focuses on himself and enjoying life. He travels the world freely, surfing on empty beaches, standing on ancient monuments in Egypt, and experiencing places in a way no one else can. At the same time, deep in a forest, a man named Roland leads a group of armed agents. They quietly set up electric traps between the trees. Anyone who touches these wires gets shocked and captured instantly. It is revealed that they are hunters who track people with teleportation powers, known as jumpers. Once they catch a jumper, they kill them without any mercy. One night, David returns to his apartment, thinking he is safe. But the moment he enters, he is suddenly attacked. Roland is already there, waiting for him. Roland reveals a frightening truth. He has been tracking David for the past 8 years. David tries to escape using his powers, but Roland uses an electric weapon that blocks his ability to teleport. Now trapped, David struggles as Roland keeps attacking him and demanding answers. Roland wants to know how David managed to stay hidden for so long. In desperation, David looks at the photos on his wall, trying to teleport away, but the electricity weakens him. Instead of escaping, he crashes onto the second floor of his apartment. Roland quickly follows him using a ladder made from bookshelves and shocks him again, repeating the same question. But David refuses to answer. Filled with anger, Roland throws David off the second floor and gets ready to kill him with his weapon. David barely manages to dodge the attack. As he tries to escape, one of Roland's traps activates and wraps an electric cable around his body. Using the last of his strength, David quickly teleports to his hidden vault. There, he grabs a tool, cuts the wire, and finally escapes. Furious, Roland contacts his headquarters and orders all hunters to search for David immediately. The next day, still shaken but alive, David decides to visit Millie's house. Her mother is surprised but happy to see him. After letting him in, she tells David that Millie now works at a bar in town. Without wasting time, David goes there. When he sees Millie, he realizes she has moved on with her life. Feeling unsure, he turns to leave, but suddenly Mark shows up. He recognizes David and starts shouting loudly, attracting attention. Because of the noise, Millie notices them and comes over. While they talk, Mark starts insulting Millie again. This makes David lose control, and he punches Mark in the face. Mark fights back and drags David outside, beating him badly. Thinking he has finally won, Mark celebrates. But suddenly, David grabs him and teleports. In an instant, they both appear inside a bank vault. Mark is terrified and confused, not understanding what just happened. He begs David to spare him. David leaves him there and returns to the bar to talk to Millie. She asks where he has been all these years. David lies and says he got a high-paying job at a bank and became rich. Then he tells her he is planning a trip to Rome, knowing it has always been her dream. He invites her to come with him, and she quickly agrees. Soon, they arrive in Rome together. Meanwhile, back at a police station, Roland asks the chief for permission to question Mark, who has reported David. The chief refuses, saying Roland needs a proper warrant. Angry, Roland knocks the officer unconscious and enters the room anyway. From Mark, he learns that David is traveling with Millie and has gone to Rome. In Rome, David and Millie visit the famous Colosseum, but a guard tells them it is closed. Annoyed, David secretly uses his power to unlock a gate and takes Millie inside. As they explore the empty place, a mysterious young man watches them from above. Soon, he approaches David and introduces himself as Griffin. He reveals that he also has the power to teleport. David is shocked and asks how that's possible. Griffin explains that people like them are called jumpers, and even though they are powerful, they are always being hunted. Just then, two agents arrive. David quickly teleports to a higher level to escape, while Griffin stays behind to fight using a baseball bat. Although David manages to get away at first, he is caught in a trap and pulled back into the center of the Colosseum. Later, when David comes back to Millie and tries to leave with her, police officers stop them and arrest both of them. At the station, Millie pleads with the officers to let David go, but they ignore her and tell her to sit quietly in the waiting area. During David's interrogation, the officer suddenly gets a message saying the deputy has arrived, so he leaves the room. As soon as David is alone, something shocking happens. A woman suddenly appears in front of him. It's his mother, Mary, who disappeared years ago. Calmly, she unlocks his handcuffs and gives him the keys. She tells him to leave immediately and warns him not to take Millie with him. If he does, she says Millie could be in serious danger. Confused and desperate, David tries to follow her, but a police officer steps in to stop him. To escape, David teleports the officer to a faraway place in Egypt near a statue, then instantly returns. David reunites with Millie and tells her they must leave the city right away. She doesn't understand why he's acting so strangely, but David refuses to explain. They quickly pack and head to the airport. Just before the flight, David tells Millie he can't go with her because he doesn't want to put her in danger. Heartbroken and confused, Millie boards the plane alone. Back in Ann Arbor, Roland visits David's old house. His father, William, answers the door. Roland pretends to be a federal agent and asks about David. William says he hasn't seen his son in 8 years and that even the police couldn't find him. When Roland asks about David's mother, William says she left when David was very young and never came back. At the same time, Griffin is at his place, casually playing video games beside the dead body of a hunter he defeated earlier. Suddenly, David appears and demands answers. He asks why people like them are hunted. Griffin explains that since ancient times, a group called the Paladins has been hunting jumpers. They believe people with such powers should not exist. Griffin also reveals that these hunters have even destroyed entire families just to find their targets. Hearing this, David becomes terrified and instantly teleports to his father's house. When he arrives, he is devastated to find his father badly hurt and close to death. Without wasting time, David teleports him to the hospital. The next day, David goes back to Griffin. Griffin casually mentions he recently killed another hunter and threw the body into the ocean. David asks for Griffin's help to find Roland and protect Millie. But Griffin warns him that Roland is extremely dangerous and refuses to get involved. David insists, saying Millie will never be safe while Roland is alive. Still, Griffin refuses and tells David to handle his own problems. Ignoring the warning, David secretly follows Griffin by tracking his teleport jumps. He ends up in the kitchen of a restaurant in Japan and continues chasing him through the busy streets of Tokyo. David tries again to convince Griffin, saying together they could defeat Roland. Griffin still refuses and jumps into a car showroom. There, the two steal a luxury car and drive wildly through the city, even teleporting the car through traffic. During the ride, Griffin tells a story about another jumper who tried to use too much power and died in the middle of a jump. After a long night, Griffin finally agrees to help David find Millie. But when they reach the airport, they discover her flight landed over an hour ago. They split up. Griffin goes to get his weapons, while David rushes to Millie's house. When David finds her, he finally tells the truth. He admits he never worked at a bank and begs her to leave with him. Just then, David senses danger. Roland has arrived. Without wasting a second, David teleports himself and Millie straight to Griffin's hideout. Soon after, a team of Paladins breaks in. Roland uses a special tracking spray to follow David's teleport trail. Then they activate a powerful device that can reopen the teleport holes left behind by jumpers. Using this, they enter Griffin's hideout and begin searching everywhere. David and Griffin hide behind large concrete pillars, trying to stay out of sight. While hiding, David notices a photo of his mother, and that small moment of distraction costs him. One of the hunters sees him, and Roland quickly traps David with electric cables. As David lies helpless, Roland steps forward with a dagger. David asks why the Paladins hate jumpers when they've done nothing wrong. Roland coldly replies that jumpers always become dangerous and must be stopped. Just in time, Griffin attacks with a flamethrower, forcing the hunters to back off and saving David. But Roland survives and fights back, trapping Griffin with another electric cable. Feeling confident, Roland reveals a dark truth. He was the one who killed Griffin's family. This makes Griffin furious. In rage, he launches a powerful teleport attack, smashing Roland through a wall and throwing him outside. Meanwhile, Millie is hiding and trying to find David. Griffin escapes again and makes a massive counterattack, even teleporting a bus from London into the desert, crushing Roland and destroying the base. The destruction shocks Millie. Griffin uses fire once more to push the hunters back. Roland barely escapes through a portal and ends up at Millie's house. Still angry and determined, David follows him, continuing the fight there. Millie finally frees David, and after a quick apology, he prepares to take her away. At that moment, Griffin returns and says he has stolen the portal machine, trapping the hunters on the other side. But just before the portal closes, Roland fires one last cable that grabs Millie and pulls her through. David panics and wants to go after her, but Griffin stops him and reveals a dangerous plan. He wants to send a bomb to Millie's house where the Paladins are gathering. Realizing Griffin might kill Millie too, David takes the bomb and runs. Griffin chases him, and the two begin fighting across different places, on top of pyramids, across huge bridges, and through cities, teleporting non-stop as they struggle for control of the detonator. David throws the device from the top of a tall building, but Griffin dives after it, continuing the fight in midair. They crash into a large pool and barely survive. Then David teleports to the freezing Arctic Ocean, but Griffin follows in a vehicle and crashes into him, sending both into the icy water. Seconds later, they jump again, this time into an active battlefield filled with explosions. Griffin finally grabs the detonator and says goodbye, but before he can leave, David grabs him and forces a teleport into high-voltage power lines. This ends the fight. After that, David returns to Ann Arbor to save Millie. He quietly approaches her house, but it's a trap. The Paladins capture him and tie him down with electric cables. Filled with anger and pain, David uses all his power. The ground shakes as the house begins to collapse. He teleports while pulling part of the house with him, crashing into a river. The water destroys the structure, and both he and Millie nearly drown. Millie frees herself and swims to David. To save her, David teleports the remains of the house into a public library, destroying it. As Millie crawls toward him, Roland suddenly rises again. David moves Millie to safety and faces Roland alone. He tells him he will never become the kind of person the Paladins fear. Instead of killing him, David spares Roland and teleports him far away into a massive desert. Days later, David meets his mother and finally asks why she left him. Mary reveals the truth. She was always a Paladin. When she discovered David's powers as a child, she left so she wouldn't be forced to kill her own son. She warns him to be careful and says she is giving him another chance. With everything finally over, David reunites with Millie. Now free, they decide to start a new life together, traveling the world. So what did you think of the movie? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more movie recaps.